Okay, now I can see the chat. Oh, thanks for giving me a thumbs up before you in here. Oh, I appreciate that. Oh, that's just, I don't know what's happening. Anyway, welcome. Hello. I hope everybody else comes back. Dave, hello. Thanks for being here. I've set it up exactly the same way that I have everybody else or all the other ones. And for some reason, these last 2 weeks, I've had to reset them. And I don't know why. Two Daves. David Oaknob Farm. Hello. Alicia, hi. Yes, I can see you now. You can't do a live without being able to see the chat. It just doesn't work. Might as well do, just go into a corner and talk to myself. Christy, hello. Thank you guys so much for being here. Oh, I really appreciate it. I didn't know if I should do one tonight, but I figured, well, yesterday was kind of the big day and at the end of the weekend, and nobody was working today, at least in the States. And so a lot of people might just be having some downtime, and thought, well, I'll just still get on. Yeah, talk to myself. I do enough of that anyway, Dave. Sunflower Mom, hello. How are you? Yep. You know, I live by myself. Who else do I talk to, right? I know some of you can relate. Hey, Eliza, good evening. Oh, that's so great. That's wonderful. Rained the whole weekend. Oh, my goodness. Ribs. Oh, if I were closer, I'd run over for dinner. That sounds really good. Hi, Donna. Hello. Eli, hello. It's good to see that you're still alive. Hi, Debbie. How are you? You'll allow it. Okay. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, how was everybody's weekend? Did you get to see my tractor parade video? Just give me a thumbs up or a high five or something if you got to see it, or yes or something. It was pretty fun yesterday. So I just filmed it yesterday. I ran home, edited it, and got it up. So it was kind of a quick one. Did I stay cool this weekend? Not really. It has been so hot. It's been right around 100, and definitely more humid. It's overcast right now, so I think we have storms coming in. But thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been hot. But I mean, like today was what, 98, 99 degrees. Tomorrow's high is supposed to be like 65. And then in the 60s again on Wednesday. Lows even down in the 40s. I mean, it's going to feel great, but it's like, whoa, so drastic. So drastic. Christy, you've been out searching for your dog. Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I hope he or she comes back. That's not good. Oh, you have your weather back to normal, Debbie? Oh, that's good. Thanks, Alicia. Yeah, there were a lot of neat tractors, and I ended up emailing Hank at a Hamiltonville farm because I know they're so busy, he probably doesn't get to see a lot of other videos and stuff. And I said, Hank, I said, I know you love tractors because I moderate for their channel. And it's like, you want to see a bunch of old ones, just go check this out. So it was just a short video, but it was kind of fun. Thanks, Debbie. Oh, Eliza, exactly. It has been. It's just, I can get outside and work in it one day, and then it just like kind of wipes me out for 2 or 3 days. So it'll be nice to have it cool for a couple days here. Oh, nice, Alicia. That's good. Yeah, Christy, I'm so sorry. Oh, I bet you had a lot of fireworks going off there. it's hard on dogs, especially if they don't, if they've never heard them before, they're not familiar with them. Any pets, cats or dogs, and yeah, you're right, Donna. Absolutely, a fireworks bonanza. Um, did not get to see any fireworks. I think they had some. I know that there were quite a few places yesterday, but I was home editing a video, so I didn't go out and watch any fireworks. Um, I don't know if there'll be any tonight or not. Usually someone in town here sets them off, but I didn't even hear them last night. So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. But we had a fun picnic and a barbecue after the tractor parade, and it was at my one of my brother's places, and it was their lake association that they do that, and it was great because he lives right on the lake. So those scenes of the shore and everything right in front of his house, which is really kind of fun. Lots of good scenes for video. Do they have that, Dave? Really? Oh my goodness. Hey, Kiri, hello. It's so dry they canceled them here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's why. That's why I haven't heard any go off. I can understand that. I mean, our grass is just brown and crispy, and it's just, yeah, everything is so dry. Okay, yeah, they've had a lot more rain up north. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, uh, your beagle will be happy. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I know that even out in South Dakota, that was iffy if they were going to be able to have them. So, but I can understand for a fire hazard. I know in a couple areas in California, at least you could do. I think even sparklers were banned, but yeah. So I don't know. I hear you, Christy. Yep. So anyway, I so as you've seen, I've got all of my main garden beds all done. Those are all in and planted and growing and thriving. So I'm so happy to have all this finished. And I'm working on rebuilding some other beds around the house and stuff. And so I do a video for that coming up. And yeah, just a lot. It's just so hard to get a lot accomplished when it's so hot. You know, we have 100-degree temps and 50 to 60% humidity. It's pretty uncomfortable. You just had 5 days of rain. Oh, nice. You had a 1.5 year drought. Oh my goodness, Dave. Wow. Hey, Patty. Hello. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. It was, as you saw from, I mean, it took me a year to get them to that point. It was a lot of work to get there, but it's been worth it. Not only do they look great, I know they're going to last a long time and everything. So, hey, Will, good evening to you. Thanks, Debbie. You said it if last night wasn't expecting that at 1 in the afternoon. Oh, yeah. That's true. And it's not only what's growing in there that creates the work. It's maintaining everything. So, but yeah, it'll be worth it. But it's just some of those things you have to keep up on. Absolutely. Thank you guys. All right. So I don't know if too many of you from Canada know the story of Paul Revere's ride and everything. So I know, Eli, it entails a lot more money and work and dirt and everything else that goes in there. And I can always add to it, but I just wasn't in a position to do that at this point. So, but no, it is a good idea. So, So I don't know if you've heard, I mean, when was it? Maybe fifth or sixth grade was the first time I'd heard about Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem called the Paul Revere's Ride, or Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. So you even visited the Old North Church. Cool. Hey, Debs, Enriched Refuge. Hello. Yes, so I hope you guys are okay with a little bit of history today. It just kind of some cool stories. I mean, if you've ever heard the poem and kind of, yep, culture, I've done that in these beds. So I'll send you some of your now's cooler weather. Yes. His family's silver is in our local museum. They were metalsmiths. Oh, cool. Yeah, so anyway, this was in April of 1775, so April 18th. Paul Revere was summoned by Dr. Joseph Warren of Boston and given the task of riding to Lexington, Massachusetts. So from Boston, Massachusetts to Lexington, I actually have a map here. So see if I can get this so you guys can see. So here's Boston, and then he had to go up to Lexington here. And there were 3 different riders. So I will show this to you as the story goes on. Pewter, silver, nice, cool. It is a long ride on horseback. They don't really say how many miles it is, but Dave, maybe you would know since you live in that area. But so he was given the task of riding to Lexington with the news that regular troops were about to march into the countryside northwest of Boston. So the regular troops were the British troops. So the redcoats, or whatever you want to, whatever they called them at that point in time. And he was, Paul Revere was actually an employee of the Boston Committee of Correspondence and the Massachusetts Committee of Safety as an express rider. So he was strictly employed to carry news, messages, copies of important documents, different things, all the way to like New York and Philadelphia, all that kind of stuff on horseback. Yep, half hour in the highway. Okay. And that would be at, 60 miles an hour average or so. And so if you're on horseback, you're figuring 20 miles an hour probably. So yeah, it would take a little while. And that's 20 miles an hour. That's fast though on a horse. That would be like almost full gallop. So vegetable garden is a jungle of sunflowers. Well, that's nice. Things are growing up. That's great. So anyway, he was supposed to carry the news that the regular troops were about to march in. And they're supposed to come into the countryside just northwest of Boston. So according to Dr. Warren, these troops planned to arrest Samuel Adams and John Hancock. And they were 2 of the colony leaders at that point in time. And so because they were kind of stirring up stuff and instigating the separation of the colonists from Britain. So anyway, so they had a mark on their heads, obviously. So those 2 were staying in a house in Lexington. So Paul Revere had to ride from Boston to Lexington to let them know what was happening. And then he was going to, the troops then were going to continue on to Concord to capture or destroy military stores that had been stockpiled there. But in fact, the British troops really didn't have any orders to do that. It was just information that had come on. So 3 hours on horseback at a good clip. That's yeah, that's a lot of riding. But I suppose if if you're used to riding almost all day long, it's just that the horse will wear out really fast too. So Revere contacted another friend and instructed him to show 2 lanterns in the tower of Christ Church, which is now called the Old North Church, as a signal in case Paul Revere was unable to leave town. So the 2 lanterns that he was supposed to put up meant that the British troops planned to row by sea across the Charles River. Let me see. Mystic River. Let's see if I can see this backwards here. The Charles River is right in here. So they're supposed to come in through the bay here and then across the Charles River to Cambridge, right in there. So that's what the order was. So that was the 2 lanterns, if they were to come by sea, up the river, and everything like that. If it was by land, it was only supposed to be 1 lantern. So that's where you get 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, right? Debbie, that's cute. So what happened, though, is that Revere stopped by his own house to pick up his boots and his overcoat. And then he went the short distance to Boston's North End waterfront, where 2 friends waited to row him across the river to Charleston. So slipping past a British warship in the darkness, Revere landed safely. After informing Colonel Conant and other local Sons of Liberty about recent events in Boston and verifying that they had seen his signals in the North Church Tower, Revere borrowed a horse from John Larkin, Charlestown is how it's spelled. So Dave, you have to let me know, is that the same as Charleston? Is that how you say it, or do you say Charlestown? I was a little confused on that. So a merchant and a Patriot sympathizer. While the horse was being made ready, a member of the Committee of Safety that Paul Revere rode for, warned Revere that there were a number of British officers in the area who might try to intercept him. It is town. Okay. About 11 o'clock at night, Revere set off. After narrowly avoiding capture just outside of Charlestown, Revere changed his planned route and rode through Medford. Okay, so what do we have? I don't see Medford down here. Oh, up here. Okay, so we've got, again, Boston. He's going to go through Cambridge, and Medford is up in here. So Lexington's here, Medford, Cambridge. I don't know what's behind the key here, but anyway, it gives you an idea of where they were going. Not Concord, more like conquered. Okay, like you conquered something. Oh, that's interesting to know. Okay, yep. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. Isn't that what I said? 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. I thought I said it right. Okay. So he alarmed Isaac Hall, the captain of the local militia. Then all of a sudden, all the houses from Medford, through this area, started waking up and getting their act together and getting all this done. So Revere had made it to Lexington, where he let Adams and Hancock know what was happening and everything. So then by about 12:30, William Dawes also arrived in Lexington. So there were 3 riders that were going out so that they wouldn't rely just on one person, and which was really good, because at some point shortly after this, a British patrol did intercept all 3 men. Prescott and Dawes escaped, but Revere was held for some time, questioned, and then finally let go. But then they confiscated his horse. So he was just on foot, truly hoofing it, on foot. And so he returned to Lexington just in time to witness the latter part of the battle on Lexington Green. So he did not finish his whole ride as was indicated in the poem and things like that. But oh, okay, thanks, Dave. I said it conquered. Okay. Yeah, that's Alicia. Okay. Oh, hi, Michigan Daffodil. No worries. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Carrie, I've had to water my garden every day. Absolutely. So, so anyway, there are several different accounts of his midnight ride. You know, with varying degrees of interest in of the story and everything, but the account that was written in the poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, actually, they decided to leave it just because it helped to foster more patriotism, and it kept everybody going in a very, very difficult time, in a tough time like that. So they decided to just keep it all going. There's a lot of curiosity about the horse that he rode in doing all this, but not the one that was confiscated, but the one he finally got a hold of and made his ride with. But anyway, that is basically the start. So that's his ride going there and the start of the Revolutionary War. And the alarm went up through these three riders going out and telling people. So they didn't have cell phones. They didn't even have telegraph or anything like that. It was pure grit and getting the word out, but getting very, very creative and clever for the plans and how they would get that word out and getting their alarm system going and setting in motion. So we can learn a lot of things by that, and just trying to think that we, when we don't have to rely on electronic means and, send an email or a text or something, it's like, all of a sudden, oh, my phone's not working. How do I get anything out to people? So just kind of a thought about, they had a lot of things in place as really, really good preppers. So Dave says, a great parallel story. There were three riders. One was young. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me see. It said William Dawes and Dr. Samuel Prescott. So I'll show this to you one more time here. So the green one was William Dawes' route. So he actually made it all the way up to here. And then Paul Revere's was the blue one. So he had been, detained by the patrol. And then Dr. Samuel Prescott was the one in this direction. And so he went off to Concord and off that direction. So, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't doubt that there would have been other riders too. So, oh, there is another story out there. Okay. Oh, I can believe that, Dave. I imagine so. So are you guys up to having me read the poem? Let me know if you're okay with that. So, I mean, it's a little bit long, but it really gives, now that I've kind of given you the story and everything and the history, you can start to envision and kind of piece together the Okay, great. Sybil Liddington. Okay. I'll have to read into that. I did not know that. Thank you. It did not come up as one of the options here. So when she embarked on a horse through the night, and we're doing, there are a lot of Joan of Arcs out there. That's for sure. Young women who feel that call to go on. Absolutely. Oh, so true. So I have in the description in the notes, I have put the link to the stories or the information I gave you, and then also for the poem. So if you want to go back and look at that some more, and then I am going to copy that down, Dave. So thank you so much. I'll add that to my research here. Appreciate that. So, okay. Let me get a drink to start off here. Go girl one. I like that. All right. Paul Revere's Ride by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year. He said to his friend, if the British march by land or sea from the town tonight, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the North Church Tower as a signal light, one if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm, for the country folk to be up and to arm. Then he said good night, and with muffled oar silently rowed to the Charlestown shore, just as the moon rose over the bay, where swinging wide at her moorings lay the Somerset British man of war, a phantom ship with each mast and spar across the moon like a prison bar, and a huge black hulk that was magnified by its own reflection in the tide. Meanwhile, his friend through alley and street wanders and watches with eager ears, till in the silence around him he hears the muster of men at the barrack door, the sound of arms and the tramp of feet, and the measured tread of the grenadiers marching down to their boats on the shore. Then he climbed the tower of the Old North Church by the wooden stairs with stealthy tread to the belfry chamber overhead, and startled the pigeons from their perch on the somber rafters that round him made masses and moving shapes of shade. By the trembling ladder, steep and tall, to the highest window in the wall, where he paused to listen and look down a moment on the roofs of the town, and the moonlight flowing over all. Beneath in the churchyard lay the dead, in their night encampment on the hill, wrapped in silence so deep and still that he could hear, like a sentinel's tread, the watchful night wind as it went, creeping along from tent to tent, and seeming to whisper, all is well. A moment only he feels the spell of the place and the hour and the secret dread of the lonely belfry and the dead, for suddenly all his thoughts are bent on a shadowy something far away, where the river widens to meet the bay, a line of black that bends and floats on the rising tide like a bridge of boats. Meanwhile, impatient to mount and ride, booted and spurred with a heavy stride, on the opposite shore walked Paul Revere. Now he patted his horse's side, now gazed at the landscape far and near, then, impetuous, stamped the earth and turned and tightened his saddle girth. but mostly he watched with eager search the belfry tower of the old North Church. As it rose above the graves on the hill, lonely and spectral and somber and still. And lo, as he looks on the belfry's height, a glimmer and then a gleam of light. He springs to the saddle, the bridle he turns, but lingers and gazes till full on his sight a second lamp in the belfry burns. A hurry of hoofs in a village street, a shape in the moonlight, a bulk in the dark, and beneath from the pebbles in passing a spark, struck out by a steed flying fearless and fleet. That was all, and yet through the gloom and the light, the fate of a nation was riding that night. Excuse me, was riding that night. And the spark struck out by that steed in his flight, kindled the land into flame with its heat. He has left the village and mounted the steep, and beneath him, tranquil and broad and deep, is the mystic meeting the ocean tides. And under the alders that skirt its edge, now soft on the sand, now loud on the ledge, is heard the tramp of his steed as he rides. It was 12 by the village clock when he crossed the bridge into Medford town. He heard the crowing of the cock and the barking of the farmer's dog, and felt the damp of the river fog that rises after the sun goes down. It was one by the village clock when he galloped into Lexington. He saw the gilded weathercock swim in the moonlight as he passed, and the meeting house windows, blank and bare, gazed at him with a spectral glare, as if they already stood aghast at the bloody work they would look upon. It was 2 by the village clock when he came to the bridge in Concord town. He heard the bleating of the flock and the twitter of birds among the trees, and felt the breath of the morning breeze blowing over the meadows brown. And one was safe and asleep in his bed, who at the bridge would be first to fall, who that day would be lying dead, pierced by a British musket ball. You know the rest. In the books you have read, how the British regulars fired and fled, how the farmers gave them ball for ball from behind each fence and farmyard wall, chasing the redcoats down the lane, then crossing the fields to emerge again, under the trees at the turn of the road, and only pausing to fire and load. So through the night rode Paul Revere, and so through the night went his cry of alarm to every Middlesex village and farm, a cry of defiance and not of fear, a voice in the darkness, a knock at the door, and a word that shall echo forevermore. For borne on the night wind of the past, through all our history to the last, in the hour of darkness and peril and need, the people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that steed and the midnight message of Paul Revere. So there you go. Let me catch up on the chat here. So, yep, you're right. Eli did work out. As a kid from New England, this poem was so ingrained as, I suppose, I would imagine it's probably something that is like required not only reading, but memorizing. Oh, that's cool, Debbie. That's so great. That's neat. Michigan has a town. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's so great. Wow, Gil, you made a quick trip just for the weekend, huh? I'm glad you're home safely. Hey, Connie, how are you doing? I hope you guys enjoyed that. So, Yes, Alicia is very poignant. Absolutely. Oh, thanks, Deb. Hey, Virginia, how are you doing? Robert Frost taught your high school. Wow. So cool to live in a place with so much history. That is so neat, Dave. Awesome. That's very cool. He was a popular read. Absolutely. You have seen The Mending Wall? Oh, wow. I was, when I was, I think, 14, we took a family trip out to DC, and we actually, went to the usual things, Smithsonian, um, you know, all the memorials, everything else like that. The Smithsonian was great. My parents are big on museums and history and stuff, so we went to see all of those. I think we spent a week out there, but we also drove, went to Gettysburg, and all through there. And of course, they had, I was a teenager, so they had this building that had like it was like an Omni theater almost, which was really kind of high tech for that point in time. But they had the images of the battles and the history and different things like that. And then we went down through Arlington, Virginia, and a lot of the areas that were there in Annapolis, and so it was really cool to be able to stop and see all those places. And so I just can't imagine having that around you all the time, especially in such small states, because it's like everywhere you go, probably there is the history is right there. So that would be kind of cool. Oh, Virginia, I'm so sorry you broke your toe. Oh. They would liberty. Sunflower Mom. Yes, absolutely. Oh, why did they throw it in there? Oh, I got it. You're telling a joke here, kind of. Yeah, that's true. Everything kind of got delayed in Curie, and with that, there's also can be a lot of mix-ups too. Not that we don't have snafus going on at this point in time in all of our planning and stuff, but it definitely created a few issues there. Born in 1827 in New York. You know, it could be a son of that 16-year-old, or grandson, maybe grandson. That could be James Ludington or Ludington. How do you say it? Okay. What do we have here? Oh, broken toes. Oh, thank you, Urban Bucket. Appreciate that. Some poetry I can't do. Some I can, but I think it's because I kind of know this one that it helps too. So, you're right, Eli. Absolutely. Hey, Julie. Hello. You missed the reading. You'll have to go back and listen. So I read the Paul Revere's Ride by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So if anybody else is just coming in now, go back and listen to it. Or you can, there's a link below the description of the video that if you guys want to put that up, you can go check that out yourself too. But I don't see. You're cleaning your shisha. Yes, you told me that you needed to organize that. So it's a good day to do it. Absolutely. So, all right. So, garden tip for tonight. How do you, in your climate, in your soil conditions, in the way you grow, and different things like that, how do you water your plants in a drought? How do you go about doing that? For me, I need to deep water 1 to 2 times a week, and then I have to daily water um, small small plants, and that are just getting established and everything. Just because with this heat and no rain and everything, I have very sandy soil. No matter how much I have tried to amend it and put stuff in there, it still has a great sand base to it. So water just goes right through it, and it doesn't like stay and hold and be saturated. So just every fall and spring, I have to continue to just add more organic matter to it to keep trying to bulk it up. But so anyway, just wanted to see what anybody else does. No problem, Gil. Glad to have you here. No, not harvesting strawberries. I did get a lot of strawberries this year, so it's the only thing I've harvested. Everything else is still in growing process. Some things are like little itty bitty. Other things are doing well and starting to flower. But otherwise, yeah, strawberries are the only thing that I've gotten. It will be, I think my beans are starting to blossom. So it'll probably be 2 to 3 weeks maybe before I get some beans, something like that. And depends on how warm it stays and how much rain we end up getting too. But so Alicia, no problem with droughts. That's great. That's a great idea, Thrifty VG. Reusing things, absolutely. I'm totally on board with that. Dave, you had a pea bonanza today, filled with paper shopping bag. That is great. Now, was that with the pods, or was that like fully picked peas? Probably the pods, I would imagine, right? Hey, Sandy, how are you doing? Are you trying to stay cool too? But one thing to remember, that when you've got hoses outside and you go to water your garden or containers or whatever you're watering, let the water run out first for about 20 to 30 seconds, because the hoses are so hot, and any water that has stayed in there is super hot water. And if you immediately put that hose on a plant, you're putting hot, almost scalding water on them, and you're going to kill your plants off right away. So you do have to be really careful. Let it run until it cools down. So it's still in pods. Picking blueberries, awesome. You know what? That's one task I've never minded, is shucking peas. Especially if I have somebody to do it with. I love just sitting around a table, having a big bowl of them, and just chatting and shucking peas. Just splitting them open, and I just always really enjoyed doing that. It was kind of one of those harvesting tasks that can help you. How do I put it? It just kind of slows you down and gives you pause, where you're just like, okay, this is a task, and it becomes a little bit more enjoyable. So you can do it while watching a movie, or if you don't have somebody to talk to or anything like that. But so you ran a drip tape irrigation for 10 hours. Wow. Okay. That is a good idea, Donna. I hadn't thought about that. To shoot the weeds with the hot water. Great idea. See, this is where I love to throw things out like this and have you guys give other ideas. So that's true. So curious, you have to water frequently, because I know some other gardeners who have like super rich soil, and it's just holding the moisture a lot. They say, well, just only deep water once every 2 weeks. And it's like, okay, if I let my garden go 2 weeks, it would be completely dust and little sticks and spikes. Everything would die. It's like, there's no way that I could do that. Urban bucket, you water late at night after 7, and you add peat moss to the soil. Okay. Maybe that's something I could add. the beginning of last summer, I dug out like the core of my beds, and I added a bunch of hay in there, or not hay, straw. I put a bunch of straw in there, and I mean a lot, and then covered it up so that it would add a lot of organic material to it, and hopefully do that. I also used green sand this year to hopefully try to retain more moisture to it, but it's been a hot, dry summer and a drought with record heat, and so that makes it really difficult. So, Sandy, you're already eating zucchini, beans, and raspberries. Oh, nice. That's true, Dave. Yeah, it's just Julie, that's a good point. The repetition allows your brain to rest. It is. It just and there's something satisfying about just like popping them, cracking them, and then just zipping the peas out of them. And says raw peas are really tasty too. Oh, hey Patty, how are you doing? Uh-oh. That's a lot of squash. Okay. Is that winter squash or summer squash, Eli? That's true, Dave. It's like when your whole neighborhood is sick of your squash. Greens, I don't have it here. It's Gil from Camp Patton Family Compound put that on his live one night and was talking about it. And it's, let me see. Let me see if I can find anything on green sand. Okay. How to use green sand. There's a link on green sand here. It is an organic fertilizer that contains mineral deposits from the ocean floor. It can enhance soil structure, increase root growth, and it's good for the overall health of your plants because it gives them more nutrients. It's also a useful component of container garden soils and seed starting mixes. It's got a bluish-green color. It's made of marine potash, silica, iron oxide, magnesia, lime, phosphoric acid, and about 30 other trace minerals. So, so I was trying to do that. It says that it helps to texturize and naturally boost the nutrient content. Sandy soils can also benefit from green sand because it may increase the moisture retention capacity. And so that's why I was using that also. Patty, your washer broke down. Oh no. Mine broke down 2 weeks ago. I had to get a new one. I know. It's just, I just finished today of, I hadn't been able to do laundry for 2 weeks. So I just finished the last loads this afternoon. So Utah's is dry and hot as a bone. Oh. Yeah, for those of us who aren't under water use restrictions, like being in a town and stuff, that really helps. I don't have to worry about, can only use, 2 minutes a day or 10 gallons a day for this family or whatever. So, Deb, you're eating huge cabbage from your garden already? Oh my goodness. Wow. That's so great. Yeah, that's true, Kiri. So just little bits frequently then. Do you plant zucchini for zucchini bread? Eli, did you say what kind of, you did a drip tape for 3 hours twice a week. Okay. Just wondering what kind of squash you had there. 3 hours twice a week. Azomite. Do I have some azomite? I don't know. I've got things that are combinations of them. So I think I have azomite in something else. You're right, Dave. So clay and sand can make concrete. So you do have to be careful with the clay part. Absolutely. That's great, Patty. I'm so glad for you. Sean, there you are. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Your wells to water restriction. Yeah. No, I hear you. And I do have certain trees that I try to keep watered, my apple trees and everything, because in this drought, nothing will grow. So the rest of the lawn is brown and dry and crispy. But I try to water around my trees anyway. Azomite is volcanic ash, lots of trace minerals. Okay. I'll have to. There's so many things out there that I have it's like I just don't even have time to absorb it all. But I do need to do that. So, all right. So watering in a drought. And I like the tip of using the hot water and the hoses on the weeds. That's a great thing. So, all right, my prep tip is that when items you get are more expensive or harder to come by, find ways to get the most out of them and or preserve them to last longer. Like the wood that I use for my beds, to try to seal any bare wood, use it, varnish or oil or burn it. So Sugi Bond method, shellac, polyurethane, paint, whatever is accessible as well as doable financially, and then you don't want like chemicals right up against your soil and everything. So think about the ways that you could preserve anything that you're using for any wood, inside or outside. It doesn't just have to be beds or anything. So, and then metal, the different things that you could use for metal. Hi, Harry. How are you? Is Harry a cat or a puppy? I don't know which one it is. Hey, Country Homestead Preacher. Hello. I do need to talk to you. Okay. So for metal, what would you do to prevent rust? You could either buy aluminum, get galvanized metal. You could, grind it down and prime it, different things like that. So you don't want to just put bare metal out somewhere. So just kind of doing different things like that. The brick or block, like cement block or brick, whatever, you could actually seal it or paint it or something that helps to keep it from deteriorating over the years. I mean, it's going to last a long time anyway, but eventually it does crumble and fall apart. So if you want it to last longer, you can seal it up. Anything that you're using a weed barrier for, whether it's in landscaping or on a garden bed or something like that, get the higher quality cloth so it lasts longer. Because if you spend twice as much on a piece of weed barrier than for the same size, but it's going to last 3 or 4 times longer, you've actually saved money that way. So just kind of think about that. So part of prepping is also making sure that your purchases are worth the money that you're spending and that you won't have to replace them soon. So it's not just a matter of going out and, getting loads of stuff in, buying it the, cheap quality. But be conscious about, make a conscious effort at buying the right things for yourself, as well as good quality things that are going to last, because, that's part of having a good system and a good backup and everything for yourself. So, so all of you guys that are in blue, my blue squad here, are my moderators, and I thank you for all of your work and your attention and being here and supporting my channel, having my back, making people feel welcome, encouraging the chat and everything. I really appreciate that. A curtsy, that's great. Yep. You know, and I mean, I've been in the situation that you can't afford to buy anything that's higher quality. And I get it. And I know that. But I also know that when you are able to, if you can save up for something that's not an immediate need, but it's something that you do need, just try to go with a little higher quality on that. So, blue like a Smurf, that's right. And my mama Smurf. I think that's all I had tonight. So you guys, thank you for being willing to get a little history lesson here tonight, and all the different things that were that went along with that. I appreciate that, and thank you, blue people. Yes. So that was pretty neat to learn some extra things too from the people who are living there. I really appreciate that. So, all right. Oh, thanks, Alicia. And happy 4th of July to everybody. I know it was yesterday, but happy Independence Day. And if you haven't had a chance to see my tractor parade video yet from last night, go out and check that out. It was pretty fun. All right, you guys, well, you take care, and we'll see you next week. Yes, thank a veteran. Thank you so much. And take care. God bless. And you always have hope. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.